Hey, so welcome back. This is part 2 of our New York trip that we had this past September. And we finished last time with the restaurant that got 0 stars, okay? So stay until the end because we're gonna tell you about the restaurant that got 5 stars for the overall. And we did not even order from the menu. We left it up to them what to bring. So anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah, special.
But we're going to start with, so Deborah and I, again, we went on this trip to New York. Our husbands had a conference that we went to, no, our husbands had a conference. We went along with them on the trip. We did not go to the conference. And during the conferences times, we were out browsing all over everything. Yeah, seeing the city.
So see what all we could get gluten-free or
Yes.
peanut-free or allergy-free.
Mm-hmm. We were being like little detectives. So we had gone to Central Park and we were hungry.
After all the walk. We went to Bonbons first.
Yes, we went to Bonbons.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so tell me about Bonbons.
Yeah, so my daughter Elizabeth told us about the Bonbon store, and it was a must visit because they have a lot of gluten-free, tree nut-free, allergy-friendly candies from Sweden. And it's actually, it comes straight into New York, so they have stores everywhere. And when you order it, it's actually coming from the New York store, which comes from Sweden. So really nice, cute, adorable little store. Their branding's very cute. And they actually do, like, so you have these candy buckets and spoons, and they have them marked for the ones that are allergy friendly. Right there on the tags will show some coverage of that. And
they even have like a little bucket on their counter when you go check out for you to put this little scoop that you used in there.
Yes.
So there's no like cross-contamination with the scoops even. So they're very smart about it.
Yeah, they are. And then they also had a lot of prepackaged candies that you could get. But it was an adorable store. So we went way out of our way
to go to this.
to go to this candy store. And then we came back to, we had walked it was a long destination to Central Park because that was kind of where we were going to spend our day that day and do some work.
So we're Googling, because this was, a spontaneous search. We're Googling some gluten-free options near us. And we kind of gave up because of where we were. Like we were on 72nd Street. There was just nothing around. It was just businesses, not restaurants and stuff. So we just decided to go a little further in, and we were going to just eat like somewhere around the plaza because there's always some sort of restaurants around there. And we just happened upon this place.
Yes.
And what drew us in is because we like our little Zen places, right? So it's got greenery on the outside.
Yeah, the building looks like ivy.
Yeah.
With black. You go trim around the glass. It's so
And then we walked in, and it has all the textures that we love. It's like
the
wood, the metals, the greenery.
Yes.
So this place is called,
it was,
it was so pretty. So this place is called Jams. I can't even tell you what road it's on now because we were just kind of walking, and there it was. Boom.
I think it was on 72nd.
It wasn't
far.
far.
It was just a block from Central Park.
Okay.
And so I looked up on the map. But yeah, it was California cuisine, and they had a famous chef there who started it. But yeah, their food, they had so much to choose from on their menu.
I got the roasted chicken, and it was delicious, y'all. It wasn't dry or anything, which is, it's a little bit of concern with roasted chicken sometimes. And it came with all these yummy vegetables and everything. And you were a little bit more fun than me.
Oh yeah, I have to, when I travel especially, I love to have a hamburger and French fries. And
French fries.
Yes, and the presentation there, like we had a window seat. It was just a beautiful, everything around you is beautiful. And it felt like a very special lunch and stuff. And we had an Italian sparkling water and made it extra special. And our food, but they didn't do everything right. So this was the place I gave the least stars when I reviewed this place, but they only got 3 stars, and mainly because the silverware wasn't wrapped. That was another issue. Beautiful presentation, everything in there. It was just amazing to see how nice it was, and then the layout. It was picturesque. But there, you start out with the table with the silverware setting on the table, and then all of their condiments came out in sauce cups, like dipping cups. But this is the place where we actually saw the Heinz little glass jar with the gold lid. It was really cute and very upscale.
Which is what we think could be the solution for the upscale restaurants, that they have that little single serve with the little gold lid and the little glass jar.
Yeah.
It's so cute. And they don't have to leave it on the table. They can bring that out. Don't put the sauce in the cups, y'all.
Yeah, so they can just use it. My suggestion would be just give it to the people who have allergies. Like anybody else who can have everything if you want to use those dipping cups. But They did bring the mayonnaise out in that, which was a great find for us because like, this is the perfect solution. This solves
because we've been thinking about like how can these restaurants that are a little bit more upscale, serve these condiments in a little more of a fancy, feel good way. And that came out, and we were both like, "That's it."
Yes, that's it. But then everything else they brought out, their sauces was in this single serving. So, also the waiter, we took some points off for him because he was really. He was very nice and friendly, and he probably knew the ingredients, but he didn't really share all of his knowledge. And he was relaxed about the menu didn't mark the French fries gluten-free, so I asked, and he mentioned the fryer, and that there wasn't a dedicated fryer for him, which I usually do okay with. But I did have a delayed reaction after I ate the French fries.
It was like 4 hours later.
Yeah, it was like 4 hours later, yeah. So I was thinking that he could have educated me more. I went back and checked, is there a coating? So now it makes more sense. Like if they're not gluten-free, you probably shouldn't eat them, and so they weren't on the gluten-free section, which is the menu again, wasn't marked for all top 11 allergens. It was only marked for gluten, vegan, and vegetarian. So
which seems to be typical across the U.S., at least in the places that I've been, that those are the three, which those are more diet but focused, not allergy focused.
Yeah, and I think you had already been gluten or had a reaction, so she was very careful. Like when she ordered, she stuck to the rules. Like she didn't go off and I was like, oh, I could have French fries if they're, and they're not in it because I'm a non-celiac gluten sensitivity, so I can explore a little bit, especially if I haven't had it very often.
I am also non-celiac gluten sensitivity, but man.
I mean,
after being gluten,
after
being glutened, that's what we call it. So you're going to get to know our little phrases. We've been glutened, and your bucket just stays full, and there is no having French fries, which is like my favorite thing to have. I love French fries. So anywhere there's a dedicated fryer, I'm all in.
Yes.
Like give me 2 orders. Just let me take one with me.
Yeah.
But no, can't do the cross contamination when my bucket's been over.
I'll probably stick to the dedicated fryer now.
So we talked about the menu and the waiter and the table. And so overall, what did you get, Jen?
3 stars.
3 stars.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a great experience. The food was great. The scenery, the food was delicious. The French fries tasted a little too good to be true, probably. But
that's another one of our little phrases. Is like it tastes too good to be true. Because my thing is that if it tastes so good, then it can't be gluten free.
Yeah.
I'm like, this tastes too good. It's not gluten free.
Yeah.
And then that usually turns out that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So so moving on to the next review. I have a sweet tooth, and I have to have a little bit of something sweet. And I always say that I need a little something sweet after we eat, and it's usually just like a piece of chocolate or something like that, and I'm good to go. So we were out and about. We had just gotten to Chelsea Market. This was not at this trip. This was a different. This is not this outing.
Yeah.
It was a different outing, but we had gone to Chelsea Market with our husbands, and as soon as you walk into Chelsea Market, on your left, you can look for it. It's called Lilac Chocolate. Oh my God, you guys! It was like. There it is.
Yeah.
Because I walked up to it and it has all those homemade candies, which I am a sucker for a candy store, okay?
Yes,
And I walked up and I saw that they were
gluten-free.
Labeled for everything.
It
like
was
gluten,
labeled.
Sesame. But they weren't labeled for grains, which, I have an issue. But the guy behind the counter had no problem with that. He went and pulled the recipe book.
Yes.
And went through the book and was like, yes, you can have this. Because I wasn't like asking about everything. I'm not going to waste your time. I went and picked out the things that I was interested in based on my knowledge of what I know I usually can have, right? I'm not looking for like a Twix.
Yeah.
I can't have Twix. It sounds delicious, but I can't have Twix. Caramel, that's corn syrup. I can't have that. But I'm looking at things that I know that I could possibly have if they were carefully made. And he's going through every one of them with me. And I walk out with like a bag and a half of candy, didn't I?
You did, and it was delicious.
I ate on it for the whole rest of the trip. It was delicious. So worth it. So you've got to stop at Lilac Chocolate in Chelsea Market. 5 stars. Yep.
Yes.
Go.
Yeah.
And then we, backing up a little bit, every morning we, actually first in this video we didn't mention that. We stayed at the Marriott Marquis, which was in Times Square. And if you know anything about Times Square, there's no like jumping out and grabbing a breakfast.
Yeah, not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, Starbucks wasn't even really close.
Well, the one in our hotel, but still, it wasn't. It didn't have a lot of food options.
Yeah, it didn't have very much.
So we had to eat breakfast in our hotel, and the restaurant was called Revel and Rye. But it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It was fine. It wasn't terrible.
There was just limited options.
Yeah. So because I was a little afraid, so let's back up. The menu was labeled, but it was labeled for the typical American labels. It was the gluten-free, the dairy-free. I think it was vegetarian, not vegan. Okay. But I wasn't sure which oils they were using or anything. So I just went with a cup of fruit, which I can only have certain fruits certain times of the year. And they were not upset about me asking to switch out the fruits or anything. So I had melons. That would be like honeydew melon and cantaloupe with blueberries. Every morning they took all the other stuff out. And I had a side of turkey bacon every morning. So
got your little protein.
Got my protein, got my fruit. I was hungry. I was full enough to get us through to lunchtime. And the waiter was very nice. They always asked, questions. It seemed like after we'd been there for a couple of days, though, the waiter started to recognize me because we always did. So then he was like, fruit and turkey bacon, and I was like, yes.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
But that's all I ever got there. So the only thing I can really say is...
I got the eggs and bacon.
Did you?
Yes, and I think I had some fruit, too.
Okay.
And it was great.
Yeah, it was fine. It was nothing to write home about, but it was breakfast,
Yes, yeah.
But the menu again, it was suffering on the menu. The table was clean. I saw him clean the table. And then one morning I asked him to clean the table because there wasn't one available and I needed one that was dirty, so he cleaned it. And they did bring out the silverware wrapped. And there was nothing on the table, so no condiments, no salt and pepper, anything. I had to ask for everything. But I only asked for mustard and salt, so because if you're a Southern girl, you put salt on your melon. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so Revel and Rye, give it a shot. You should be okay. Just ask questions and make sure they hear you. And then we went. So the last day, these are different days. Okay, so the last day, the men were finishing up their conference, and Deborah and I had time for one quick lunch. And where did we choose?
Bryant Park Cafe. So they had they had a grill and then they had a cafe.
Right.
So we just said, okay, we'll try the cafe.
Right. So we went and had a glass of wine. I got a salmon salad. At first he brought out something different. He thought I had said one thing and I didn't. Then he brought out the fixed one. No problem. No problems at all. Very good about listening to my allergies. He actually took notes. And when my right meal came, everything was correct. And
I think I got the bison burger with the side of vegetables. Yes.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
She forewent the fries this time and went with the vegetables.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. That's what you have to do,
Yeah.
But it's worth having the burger.
Yeah, it was really good. It was definitely worth it. And
it
had some special sauce, and I had asked him to bring it out in a separate cup because I like to be careful. Even though he said it was gluten-free, tree nut-free, I like to test it out, and if it goes well, then I'll continue to eat it. So I always do that as a precaution.
Right. So what did you give overall to Bryant Park Cafe?
So Bryant Park Cafe was 3.5 stars, just simply because the table, it's a highly public area. You couldn't see if they cleaned it or not. Their silverware did come out, but then also the dipping sauces, so it eliminated that. And then again, their menu was only marked for vegan and gluten-free. Mm-hmm. So the cafe was a little bit different than the grill. The grill actually was a little more formal. It had table linens and everything wrapped. And then this one, but one thing I did like about both restaurants is when your food came out, they were marked for your sensitivity. So it had a
little stick in it.
It had a stick in it and said gluten-free or whatever to let you know that they heard you and they saw you and they confirmed everything. They were very friendly. They were very accommodating. But just as a risk factor or whatever, I would like to see the ingredient list on their sauces delivered in the original package or containers, or a list of what's in them. And then also the table just to know for cleanliness and stuff that it's been wiped down. The linens help with that too.
And the more you listen to our reviews, the more you realize this is the same old song. It tends to be the same problems everywhere we go. And that's what Deborah and I are here for. We're going to work on fixing this problem.
Yeah.
We're going to work on helping people create menus and stuff like that. So hopefully things will get better over the next year or so.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I feel like
with the mower.
Yeah. So there was something I was going to say about So they actually did have a lot of food options at both
Mhm.
places. Like that was one thing that accredited to them, that they really, you could get a lot of stuff and even dessert at those
Mhm.
places if you wanted to. Not every place you can, and that's another thing that's kind of faulty on the menu is you feel like you can't get a special coffee or a drink, or you can't get a special ice cream or dessert. There's just not a lot of options for people with our allergies when you go somewhere.
Mhm.
And some restaurants don't even offer a single thing.
Yeah.
So when you go somewhere and there's at least one or two desserts, you're like, woohoo!
Ooh, yeah, even if it's just like a sorbet or something, you
Yes,
know, wow,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Especially for me, because I have to have something sweet.
Yes, yeah. So our next restaurant, I'm really excited because we got some of the best dessert there too. It's really good.
Okay, so you guys, if I had to name my top 5 restaurants of my life, okay, this would have been in the top 5 restaurants.
Me too.
I had never been. Deborah and her husband had been. This was her second time, but it was a different spot, right?
Yes, yeah. First
So-
one was in Arizona.
So Arizona, they went. The restaurant is called Nobu. Okay, Nobu. Oh my
It's an
gosh!
amazing experience.
So we went, and we, based on your experience that you had in Arizona, we decided that we weren't going to go off the menu at all. We're going to let them. We're going to tell them our allergies, and they are going to bring out each course without us even knowing what it is.
And I feel like you kind of get a food expert when you once you declare that you have an allergy,
Uh-huh.
and you, with the person that comes to your table, they're definitely a food expert for their foods and their
I
ingredients.
really feel like that. It's
Yeah.
like I felt like the chef was back there only making our meal.
It certainly seemed that way for sure because they tweaked everything perfectly.
They did. So when they brought it out every time, they said what it was. They would bring mine, and Deborah and I always sit next to each other because you know that's what happens. Guys sit next to each other, and so they bring ours and they set it out, and then they set out everyone else's, and then they're always telling us what each one is. And this goes for the sauces too. So even though we had to mark them down on the sauces, if I'm gonna give them a review for just best food I've ever tasted and a wonderful experience, it's 5 stars. But we're not here for that. We're here for an allergy-friendly review.
Yeah.
So let's start.
So you'd have to
At the
take off
beginning.
like a half.
Yeah. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the menu. So did it have a separate allergy menu?
No.
No. Now, we did take a glance at the menu, but we knew when we were going in that we weren't going to go with the menu. We were going to go off menu. And we are really putting our lives in their hands at this point.
I know, yeah.
We had no idea what was coming to the table, you all. And it came, and it was delicious. And
And it was multiple courses, probably
Multiple.
like with 7.
I think it was 7.
Yeah.
But you know, it was like little bites,
Mhm.
kind of like the tapas style, Japanese tapas style.
Yeah.
If you could say that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it didn't have the allergens on the menu. So that kind of dinged them on that one. And then, was there an online menu? I don't even know.
Yeah, they
I
have
forgot
it
to look
on
it up.
But yeah, there's no. This is.
I think I just gave up the menu, guys, when we gave up the
We were
control
like-
of it. It was actually free to be able to order that way and be able to put that trust into someone because we just enjoyed our time and the food was an experience with every bite.
Yeah, it really kind of opens up every sense, taste and sense. Like it's such a live experience.
Yeah. I don't, we never had any fried anything. It was all fresh fish and everything, so we never had to worry about
Fresh
any fryers or
vegetables,
anything.
fresh fish.
Mhm,
Yeah, there was
Yeah. And then if you go on to the waiter, the waiter was fantastic.
exceptional.
Okay,
Exceptional.
so here's one thing that did happen though. So again, I am allergic to grains. So that includes wheat, rice, corn, oats, and then gluten overall, okay? So,
garbanzo,
and now we know garbanzo.
which is not
That's in our first part 1 of this.
That's a great substitute, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the chickpeas,
Okay.
a garbanzo bean is a chickpea.
Yeah.
And so chickpea pasta is a substitute. So go back into like video number 1 and figure that out because I went to a restaurant, had a huge reaction over,
Garbanzo flour.
didn't even know.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, back to this one. So I could not have this particular item that they brought out had rice in it. And I had taken a bite because they had assured me, when they delivered it to the table that it was grain free. But the
Experts
waitress
that we had.
yeah, she was so on it, you all. Somebody else from the kitchen brought it out,
Mhm.
okay? She came seconds behind them, almost like,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah, she pulled it. Yeah.
I already had the bite in my mouth and was chewing, and then when she pulled it. She was like, "Oh, this has rice in it." And I was like, "Oh, dang, I'm gonna bite."
Did you spit it out, or would you?
I didn't, because it was already
it was there
down. It was already going down. There was unless I wanted to hop it back up or anything, which was completely inappropriate. But anyway, I did start to have a little bit later. It didn't happen right away. Just a touch of a reaction. I didn't have to come out of my shoes or anything. I just noticed it because I know when I'm not reacting and when I am. But with that being said, she did come out quickly, grab it. She not only took it back, she wiped my table and gave me new plate and utensils. Mm-hmm. So there was no cross-contamination. So see there, I'm just like, you're not
educated. She was educated.
Oh, that just makes up a little bit to me for the lack of the menu not being labeled. But you know what? We got to be strict. We got to have our standards, and that's just where it is.
So the menu was not marked.
No. The table experience, it was completely clear.
Yes, everything they did that part right. It was a nice restaurant. So there was table linen, and then silverware was wrapped in linen napkins.
They did bring the sauces out in dipping cups, but before we even got to say anything, she said, this is that, right?
Yeah, she clarified, as she set a cup down in front of each of us, which was different than what our husbands were able to have.
And she even wouldn't even say, this is okay for you, this is not okay for, me.
Yeah, she even separated out our allergies. Yes, she did.
So, if you ever get to go, you can't go all the time because it's way expensive, but holy cow, best top 5 meals I've ever had in my life. The experience was fantastic. Of course, I was with people that I love,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was a great experience. Yeah. And then we got dessert too. They brought out matcha ice cream, which one year we get matcha ice cream with a dark chocolate syrup.
There was a couple. There was matcha ice cream, and then there was was there a pineapple or something? There was something else. Shoot, it was good, but there were different choices of ice cream.
So again, it just really lit up your taste buds. Everything there did.
Yeah. So well done, Nobu. Okay, so our last review for this video, I think overall actually for our New York trip, is Deborah had access to the Delta Lounge in the airport. So
so I just really wanted to kind of give a shout out to Delta because I feel like they're really trying to get the allergy thing right. No matter if you're in a seat, you can actually let them know ahead of time, hey, I have a tree nut allergy. How many rows do we need to clear? Or we can't have tree nuts on this plane, So they will clarify that for you. And then also the snacks they bring out. I've actually picked up a lot of new snacks just by, telling them my allergies. And then they bring out these new packages of snacks I've never had before. So it's kind of been fun too to pick up some new things. And then in the lounge. So when I go to an airport, I can never ever eat any of the restaurants at the airport because there's just so much factors for cross-contamination. Every restaurant looks like a scary scene. And so I just avoid doing that. I take my own food or whatever I have to do. So the past couple of times we've traveled, we've actually gone to the Delta Lounge, and they do such a nice job. I mean, from even the first time I went, they didn't mark it. And in the last year, I guess I would say, they've completely changed where everything is marked, which is a big deal for me. And I love that. I just feel safe when you go, and it literally tells you this is, it's vegan, it's gluten-free, it's tree nut-free. Or it'll mark it with tree nuts, and it'll have a warning sign, so to kind of stay away from that one. But a lot of options there. We've done that, so I've actually haven't been hungry an entire trip now. My last whole year of traveling.
Oh, well done. Well done, Delta.
Yeah, good job.
All right. So, that concludes this trip. So stick around for our upcoming reviews, and we'll see you next time, navigators.
Yes, thank you, and please subscribe to our channel.